What's up, guys? It's Justis here. I'm actually back at FAU. I'm back with one of my professors, Dr. Mike Zourdos, and today we have the opportunity to talk a bit and talk about a topic that I think is going to help a lot of people out. I think for college students, one of the things besides money that we all say we don't have is also time. With classes, with some people have jobs and tests and exams, all these things, we don't have a lot of time. And if you're watching this video, you probably go to the gym and you probably want to know how you can make the best use of your time to make the most progress, so you don't waste any of your time in the gym, and so you can still make gains and still do the other things that you have to do as a college student. Dr. Zourdos was one of my professors here while I was doing my undergrad in exercise science and health promotion here at FAU, and he was one of those professors that I looked forward to having because before I even met him, I knew about how knowledgeable he was with programming and strength training and all of these things. So when we had class, we discussed programming. I was able to go to the lab, sometimes after school, and he's very busy, but I kind of hunted him down and made sure I could pick his brain. And I've actually learned probably the most about programming from him, and it's helped me with clients of all sorts, my honor roll strength training clients and ones that I train in person too.
I appreciate that, Justice. First, I only gave you $20. You didn't have to be that nice. Can't really go higher than 50, so maybe we'll calm down on the praise, but I appreciate it, man. It was a pleasure to have you in class when you were here, and I appreciate you having me on. It's good to have you back on campus, man.
Yeah, definitely.
When we're here today, we can talk about, as Justice said, students really have kind of a crunch for time, if you will. A lot of students have, overload on classes, they have an extra job, they're taking care of family members, they're traveling back and forth from this to that. Now, some students don't have a whole lot to do. They might be taking 9-10 credit hours and just hanging out the rest of the time. But for those of you that have a lot to do, you want to be able to maximize your time in the gym. So what's essentially going to get you the most bang for your buck? And we've all been there before. I'm sure you were there when you were starting out as an undergrad, and that's why you're able to be successful now doing this and helping other people. And I know I was there as well when I was first starting out, which is you go to the gym and you have so many machines and you have so many different things that you can do, and you try to go around from machine to machine to machine, kind of aimlessly doing so many exercises and not really knowing what to prioritize, worrying about what supplements that you can take beforehand. You got to slam your protein shake right afterwards, and all of these things, and how you can manage that. So to maximize your time in the gym, if you're in college and you're just starting out, right, I want you to focus on some main things. Have a priority list. At the top of your priority list should simply be adherence to training. So what are the things that are gonna make you adhere to that training, right? And then while you're there, what can you do to maximize that? So if you think about the muscle groups that you train, think about compound lifts. So you have things like squats, bench presses, overhead presses, deadlifts, right? Any type of pull. So I want you to take a push, I want you to take a pull, right? And I want you to focus on those major muscle groups and do those first. So if you have, let's say, 3 days a week in the gym, and you want to have a frequency of at least 2 times a week on an exercise or a muscle group. So of those 3 days a week, you might have your major lifts, as we just said. Bench press, overhead press, deadlift, maybe pull-ups, and then some sort of row. If you have those, right, you're going to do all of those, let's say, or those muscle groups 2 times a week. Prioritize those and put them into that Monday and Wednesday, Friday. And then after that, you can have a list of assistance exercises. If you have time, you complete the assistance exercises. If you don't, as long as you get the main lifts in, that's what's going to get you the most bang for your buck. So when you go in, I want you to think about that. If you're adhering to training, you have to focus on those main lifts first. If you get the assistance work in, that's great. That's a bonus. Right? Hopefully you can get those bicep curls in. We all want to do that. It's a little after spring break now, so you're getting ready for summertime. And I know Justice and I here, we're going to get our bicep curls in, so we're ready for summer. But you want to focus on those main lifts. It doesn't mean you're diminishing the importance or saying there's no importance at all to bicep curls and tricep extensions and other types of rows. There definitely are. But if you can only go in the gym and only do one thing because you only have 30 minutes that day, class was over late and you got to get to work, right? And you have a choice between doing, a bench press and an overhead press, or doing one set of concentration curls, you would want to choose the bench press and the overhead press, and then push the concentration curls to a day when you had more time. So focus on the compound lifts. But I don't know if you've noticed that, or what else you noticed when you were kind of starting out as a college student, and what you did, what you learned that you wish you could have done at that time to maximize your time better.
Right, well, it's very similar to what you were saying. In fact, it makes me think with my honor roll strength, the clients that I have now, I color code things so that they know, just by looking at it, okay, if I can only get in and do the first 2 exercises, I'm good. And then a shade a little lighter, these, if you can get these in, that's good. And then there's ones that are just the lightest shade where, look, If you get them in, if you don't, it's not going to make or break. It's based on your time. Keeping that in mind is good because a lot of kids I remember seeing in the gym, like for instance, forearms, for something like direct forearm training. I could never fit it in. Like there was times where I really wanted big forearms, but it just wouldn't work because of timing. But I see kids, especially on campus, when they train, they may start with something like that, like wrist curls, reverse curls. And it's just when you think about the time that it takes versus the result that you're going to get, it just doesn't make sense. So definitely prioritizing helped me a lot while I was in school, because some days you can only do squats maybe, and you have to head to class. Even breaking apart sessions can work if you have a class and a couple small breaks. You can maybe split sessions up, but just keeping in mind what's important and what's not in terms of progress. And then of course it depends on your goals. Like if all you want is big arms, then by all means.
If that's all you want, then
that's how you spend your time.
You can focus on that. I would like to say on the forearms, I'd say those that start their workout with forearms, there's probably a high correlation between those people and the amount of money they spend on supplements per month as well.
Absolutely.
But mentioning supplements also gets us to priorities. But in terms of that time in the gym, let's say one day you have about an hour and a half to train, one day you have an hour, and then one day you have 30 minutes. So you don't have to be so fixed to, let's say, hey, on Monday I'm going to do this, Wednesday I'm going to do this, and Friday I'm going to do this. You can say, hey, I'm going to do all these 3 different days throughout the week, but I don't necessarily care what order I do them in. Because if you end up only having 30 minutes on that one day, but that's scheduled to be your longest day, then you can flex one of those other ones in there. And we would call that a form of autoregulation, or what we call a flexible template. And there's good evidence to show that that adheres to training better, right? If adherence was our number one thing. So you might have all of those throughout the week, but you can maximize your time in the gym by not being frustrated by getting your workout cut off because you got to go to work and class let out late that day. You can use that flexible strategy to put one of those things in there. So I would encourage you to do that, and then the day where you end up having more time, that's when you can put some of those assistance exercises in to make sure you get them done. Because we joke bicep curls and tricep extensions, but we all want to do them. We all want to get them in, and they are important, right? So we don't want to negate them completely. Just make sure they're on a day when you have time. And let's say you all 3 of those days that week get cut down to 30 minutes. So you can only focus on the main lifts, but you still don't have that much time to get the main lifts in. So do some supersets. If you want to do squats and bench presses, it's not ideal to superset them because certainly by the time you do some heavy squats, you're going to be fatigued when you get to bench press. But you can decrease the load maybe 10 pounds from what you were going to do, and then superset squats and bench presses, maybe add a set if you need to, right, on short rest intervals to get all of that volume in. And then you'll save yourself a little bit of time. You'll equate for that volume, but that superset should be able to help you out there rather than taking those long rests in between. So if you were going to do 5 sets of squats and 5 sets of bench presses and take 4 minutes rest in between each set, well, you can decrease the load by 10 pounds, superset them, maybe add a set, and you'll be able to take a shorter rest interval, so it should probably cause a lower amount of time in the gym, and you'll be able to maximize your time that way. Right? So 3 things: compound lifts, flexible template if you need to for time, and then the last thing, you can always incorporate supersets as your 3rd thing with different muscle groups, chest and then lower body. Decrease the load to make those supersets completable. But I think those are some things that people can really benefit from, and then position your assistance work on days when you have more time and you can really enjoy that, which is pretty much Friday night before you put that V-neck on and you go out, so you know how to look good before you go out that night, man. But those would be the things that I would highlight.
Right. So I think if you take anything away, those main 3 things, and just understand that a lot of times the way we think about training, we're really fixated on doing certain things. But like he said, you can be more flexible. You can shift things around. A lot of time your schedule is set, and you can't shift that around, right? And a lot of times unexpected things may come up, especially as a college student. Maybe you expected to find a parking spot a lot sooner than you did, and you were really crunched for time. Well, you can make adjustments to where you're still making progress, you're still making the gains that you want, and then you're not stressed about it either because you realize it's okay. Today I do a shorter workout, I make some adjustments, I drop a couple pounds, I superset. So thanks so much, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hopefully you guys really took something away from this, got something away that you can apply right now. So I'll see you guys in the next video.